Wow.
Wow, this is some really deep stuff.
I don't know what just happened, but something happened inside of me. Something snapped, something.
I wasn't expecting that
either. Sorry.
It's okay. It's all right. It's beautiful.
Monster is like really small, but it had to become that to stop me.
And then the hurt child became present when you mentioned it.
And I didn't realize this until now.
There were things that I didn't remember until now.
Funny, I haven't seen that before.
It feels like I'm the monster. I'm kind of seeing images of things. Of a world where they can exist. This clarity brings all kinds of answers.
It's clear. She hugged me and then went back to her place, I guess, in my heart. Oh, it wants to come out. It wants to bippity boppity boop Cinderella me. She's melted into my chest. It's ooey gooey.
All week been finishing things, cleaning up more, started eating vegetables again last week. And it kind of just started happening. It's almost like I just finished going through a meditation session.
I feel light. When you hit that first joint, in the morning, and
I actually feel a lot more awake.
I think that whole time where it just imploded a little bit was an it's like anything, it's this whole idea of, is it breakdown, is it breakthrough, and actually that's that those times that, as trying as they are, actually are followed by shifts.
Yeah.
And clarity in a different way. I mean, it comes and goes, but it's not. I suppose what I'm trying to say is that the thing, in terms of IFS, the thing that's been most important following that. See, I'm just trying to talk from not my rushy head.
Take your time.
I think different things. There's been a shift in my approach to the work. I recognized that there was a little bit of me dipping in and exploring during the calls, and then not in between, and totally fine. There's no judgment around that. It's just that it needed to change, really. There was an urge, a desire within for that to change, so that the relationships changed. And somehow I have a more ability to access self.
Wow.
And it's interesting. It's not even ability. It's just recognizing what is and what isn't. And I'm not saying I've got it all down, but I certainly, it's a very subtle physical difference in my face.
Yeah.
And so there's that. And then also, we did such great work with this keeper of the keys, this cynic, skeptical part. And I really, that relationship changed as a result, even though the main work was direct access between you and it. Him. But I think that for me, moving forward now, the work needs to be with the thinking part first and foremost.
Yeah.
Because that's that's my other biggest protector. And it hasn't really had the attention she hasn't really had the attention that she needs. And I feel like that what this big reaction that happened last time was because she was bypassed or felt bypassed in some way.
Yeah.
It's all speculation, right?
Yeah. Sounds pretty reasonable to me.
Yeah. But I've been cultivating relationships with lots of parts in different ways, and using someone on the Discord somewhere mentioned an app called Antar, which I'm finding really useful to use as a way to chat to parts. Because it's rather than sitting on my own and doing it in my head, that it feels easier to have something concrete that's written, and I can use spoken word to write the different parts of myself if I need to. So that's been really great. It's just it's kind of shifting my attention so that my investment really is in developing relationships.
That's awesome.
And getting to know everyone and knowing that I can, and so.
Woohoo! Congratulations.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, I know that it's critical work, as a model, that it's something that's really fits and works and has amazing potential for transformation and change in a very radical way, so.
Wow.
But I did lose my faith in it, or a part that was sort of central, front and center, and probably terrified.
Yeah. And there's some terrifying things in there sometimes.
Yeah, I think that's right. But I think that also, because somehow, it feels like there's nothing too terrifying for self to hold. That feels like the right thing to say. And so if I'm in self enough, then it's all and I have permission, and the people that are really invested are really with me on board in the process, then it's doable.
Yep. Cool. So,
how's the sound?
Better than ever.
Yeah, I'm in Sydney. That's why I'm not in the middle of the bush. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, that's good.
Nice.
So I'm happy to have a play.
All right, do some more parts work. Sounds great. We'll start with a minute of meditation.
Sounds great.
Okay, I'll set a timer. All right. Do you know where you'd like to start?
I'd like to spend some time with the thinking part. I think that's going to be the first place to go always. And just really honor that relationship and deepen it. So, yeah. Okay.
I also have a couple notes about that part from our last conversation. So just to let you know that I'm aware of some of what it was saying. Okay. And so when it comes up for you, how do you notice it?
In my head. Front of my brain. And tightness in my face. Shoulders raised.
Okay. You're able to notice it there now?
Yes.
And how do you feel towards it?
Loving, appreciative, passionate.
Okay.
And I know how hard she works. I know how important it's been for her to do her job.
Okay. Send her some of that compassion. Show her that. Invite her to speak with you. We'll see what she has to say. Is there anything more that she wants you to know about her?
She wants me to know that she's real.
Mm-hmm.
She's ready to talk.
Mm-hmm.
And she doesn't want to work as hard as she does.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Just let her know you're getting all that.
Yeah.
The first thing she said was that she's real, so I'm guessing that she's experienced that maybe cynical part, saying that she's not real. Other parts that...
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She recognizes that, that this is a relationship that is important to build. She sees what's the potential is here for letting go of some of the effort.
Okay.
She really wants to be respected, to not be bypassed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's quite faint. I don't have a visual picture or anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's just felt sense in my body, and then some words, or a sense of words even.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So she's felt bypassed.
She needs to know that I'm serious. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And committed.
Serious about getting to know her and working with her.
Yeah. And just the whole thing, it's her role has been critical, and she doesn't want anyone messing around with that.
Okay. And how do you feel about that idea of working with her without messing around with it?
Really good. I really have a lot of respect for her and the role that she's played. Not played, the role that she's taken on, had to take on.
Does she feel like you have a good understanding of why it is she works so hard and what she's working so hard for? Or is there more that she'd like for you to know around that?
I can ask. I'm taking my time because I can just feel a part looking for the answer rather than letting the answer come.
Mm-hmm.
So the question is, does she feel that I have a good understanding of why she's worked so hard?
Yes.
I feel like someone's trying to get in the way.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it's not a clear dialogue anymore.
I didn't catch the
fuzzy.
last couple. Okay, yeah.
It's just the dialogue's got a bit fuzzy, the connection between me and her. So that to me indicates that there's someone trying to get in the way.
Yeah. And what do you notice about that part that might be trying to get in the way? Does it have a message for you or a place in the body?
It's just, if you could imagine someone standing with their arms up going, "Aah!" like just literally trying to get attention on them away from the, where it's been.
Okay.
Where in the body. Just between me and this thinking part.
Mm-hmm.
So it's sort of, perspective. It's a weird thing, this perspective of where things are, but it just feels like it's in front of me.
Okay.
As though the thinking part is beyond it. Just like it's just in front of my face going, la, 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 la.
Yeah. What does it want you to know? Why does it want your attention?
Says I don't want you to talk to her.
Mm-hmm.
Why is that? She's saying, thinking part saying, is sort of sitting down a bit defeated, and it says it thinks I'm too serious.
Okay. The thinking part thinks that you're too serious?
No, the thinking part is saying that this distracting part
Got it.
Thinks that the thinking part is too serious.
Uh-huh.
It's going to bring everything down because it's heavy and serious.
Yeah. The thinking part might feel that way. It feels heavy. And it does think its job is serious.
Yeah, totally. This distracting part is familiar. Like I can recognize that I felt that people think I'm too, too serious and heavy and in the past. So
yeah,
it's a little story going on there.
Okay.
So I'm just going to chat. I'm just going to chat to this distracting part and the thinking part. So just give me a sec.
Great.
Okay, so I talked to the distracting part. I asked if I could have maybe 5 or 10 minutes to uninterrupted talking to the thinking part.
Mm-hmm.
And it said, yeah, okay. I said, what do you want? It said, Game Boy. It's like a kid.
All right.
You know, the age is it. And so I gave it a Game Boy and a beanbag, and it's happy. And I just turned to the thinking part to let her know that I really, really want to talk to her, and that she's used to she's used to being pushed to the side.
Yeah.
By other parts and I just want her to know how much she means to me, and that she's just perfect just as she is, and that I want to talk to her.
Awesome.
So I'm just going to ask her to get comfortable and see what she wants me to know. And she's talking about loneliness, feeling lonely and alone, a bit bereft. Just telling her I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know her story. Can you help me with some questions, James?
Sure. Well, I think we were kind of coming to the same question you were saying about wanting to know her story. And the way I had phrased that before the Game Boy part came in was basically, why is she working so hard? Does she want to tell you more about that? What's she working so hard for?
To stop me feeling.
Mm-hmm.
To stop the, exploding parts from ruining everything.
And are those parts that you're aware of and have caught glimpses of? Does she feel like you know what she's talking about?
Yes, she does know what she thinks I know what she's talking about. Is that what you asked? God,
Yeah,
it's funny. Yeah, she does, and I'm talking to her about. Maybe I should just start at the beginning. I was going to launch in and just remind her about the work that's already been done and the work that I'm doing, outside of these calls, and reminding her about that I'm building those relationships. But I'm wondering if I've actually updated her about who I am.
right.
She knows those important kind of key elements. She says she sees me, but she just doesn't know what to do. She doesn't know how to move from here. And there's this alone thing again, but it's more like isolated rather than,
Yeah.
like an exile alone.
I was going to ask if that feels like it's her aloneness or if it's the part she's protecting.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a mixture of stuff, because I think there is her aloneness, which is about just being isolated and, alone in her role. But I'm wondering if there's also a thread of this other part, or parts.
Okay. She sees you, doesn't know what to do, isn't sure how to let go of that effort, the hard work.
It just felt like there was a bit of a softening, of an adjustment out of her self-led position when I was saying those things. It just felt like there was a bit of a out breath, kind of, like release of that self-like role that she's been really invested in maintaining.
Yeah, that's nice.
As she witnesses me and self.
Yeah, sometimes just naming it and validating it has a big impact.
So there's a sense of her kind of shrinking, or not shrinking, maybe it's just moving away from me. Maybe that's what it is. Like not being the eyes that I see through and the mind that I think through. So much so that I can sort of sense her as a separate being more now.
Yeah. And she was right that, we don't want to shrink her away. We want to
I didn't mean shrink. That wasn't. Just
but
seeing her as distinct from me. Go on.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Just agreeing that that's part of building the relationship is negotiating that kind of separation and communication, so that when she is feeling activated, she feels like she can go to you.
Yes. I'm just really working on isn't the right word, but recognizing the importance of maintaining being in self. So that's kind of what I'm really prioritizing, so that she feels that, she knows that, and she gets to know that more.
Right.
Just really occupying it and holding it so that I can hold her. She feels like she's sort of 20, 21. It's surprisingly older than I was expecting.
Yeah. Something around that time when she had to do a lot more efforting, a lot more thinking, felt the need to, or to prevent loneliness, perhaps.
Well, I left home around that age, so.
Left
yes.
home.
I went traveling. I didn't go back, really.
Is there any more she wants to show you about that time?
When you ask those questions, something happens in my body. And I guess that's a part. There's a little kind of anxiety creeps in. which is partly about I'm not going to be able to find I'm not going to be able to see the story or access the story.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's also the part that's afraid that I will.
Ah, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Kind of in my throat.
Okay.
Almost up to my tongue, actually. That's literally like trying to stop the power of speech.
Yeah, just let it know you see that, you get it, or that you see it. And that, of course, we don't have to go anywhere. Are you able to connect with that part?
Yeah, I am. I'm just feeling it. It's weird to have a tense tongue or to notice one.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to reassure it that we don't have to do anything or go anywhere. There's a bit of me going, there isn't any major event, there isn't any major kind of happening around that time that was particularly traumatic. The traumatic stuff was earlier on, that kind of early emotional abandonment stuff. So I don't know. There's a reasoning part. I think that's what I can say about that. It doesn't make sense that we can't go there.
Mm-hmm.
I've kind of got the story, which is that, early attachment wounds, emotional abandonment stuff very early on. And then, when I was old enough, firefighting parts that came in and started drinking and smoking and taking drugs and so on. And, that's the kind of run of it. So anyway, I don't know why I'm saying that, really, just that.
Well, was that happening around the age 20, 21?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So.
And I did go off traveling. I went off on my own. I went to China on my own. And that was pretty scary, actually. I remember sitting by a river in China and just I remember crying so hard. I felt so afraid and so alone. And there were no answers. There was nothing to make sense of anything, that there was nothing that could help.
Right.
The feelings inside and it was just never, there was nothing that could make it better, because I was at the depth of a bad feeling, and I just sat by this river and cried and cried and cried until it just stopped. Crying just stopped.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess that's.
The feeling was about not having answers.
That there was no relief anyway.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Nothing was going to make the pain not be there.
Yeah. So that same alone pain that you had earlier in childhood, and now you have the firefighters, you have the traveling, it's still coming up. and you're getting this message of, again, like, there are no answers. And
there's no relief. It's just no relief from the pain. There's nothing's going to stop it. Nothing's going to make it go away except go on, carry on with what you were saying.
Well, I was just wondering if that's what thinking part does, is search for answers, look for answers. Or if there's some other way that you see how it's connected to all of this.
Well, I mean, that moment of being by the river and crying, just, crying my heart out, literally, is like being so in the pain. Felt like it would destroy me. So I guess it's better if I'm not destroyed. Therefore, let's not go in the body ever again.
Yes. Okay.
Something's happening in my body. There's like a light's going on. There's a sense. Okay, well, it feels like there's whatever exiles are in there are saying, "You got it."
Yeah, other parts who have seen your light and seen you go into the body and do great work.
But just specifically, they're like, "You got it. You did it. You saw what happened."
Oh,
you saw that there was this feeling that was too much in the body, and that the response was evacuate.
Okay.
It's just pleased that it's that I've seen that. I've made that connection.
And how's the
Do you get what I'm saying?
I do now, because at first I thought you were saying they were cheering you on, but you're saying that they're saying, yes, you found this place, this part that wasn't accessible or clear to you.
Bit of both. Bit of cheering as well.
The part that, the thinking part that led us here, how's it feeling about all of this, being able to share this with you and the way that you're responding?
So an image came to mind, first of all, which is of me crouched down on the ground by this river and her standing next to me. It was just her saying, we can't do this.
Right.
And now I'm going to ask her how she feels about this. She said she feels relieved, and I said, does this feel safe? Is this, are you okay with what's happening? And she says she is. She sees it. She sees what's happening. She sees that there is this safety of self, that there is this, respectful, paced process. That it isn't just diving in and messing things up, which was her fear.
Right. That's the notes I had from our last conversation. That she was saying, don't touch anything. You don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, no, but she knows that I do. Now, I'm just going to check if that's true. Mm. Something has happened in this conversation, which is that there has been a clear distinction, clearer than ever distinction made between her and me.
Yeah.
And that's significant because she can be the person, the age, the person that she is, that she doesn't have to be in this role.
Right.
Which she hadn't yet relinquished until, and when I say relinquished, she obviously still.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just see. Hang on. There's relief because she recognizes that I am here and that she is there.
Hmm. Yeah. You could ask what you can do for her, what she would like from you.
There's a distracting part coming in.
Mm-hmm. Well, it has been 10 minutes.
Yes, that's true. It's a bit different. I'm going to ask you to just edit this bit out, though, if you want to make a timestamp note.
Okay.
I don't know if I can. I don't think I want to say actually what's
That's
going
fine.
on.
That's fine. As long as you're attending to it.
Yeah, I might need a second.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say what's going on, but I'm not going to go into detail, and I will need you to edit it out.
I also want to celebrate that significance that you felt just a moment ago with this other part, you being here, her being there, and that separation that you finally felt, the things that you were able to see with her.
Yes. Yeah, this other part's really wanting to get in the way of that.
Mm-hmm. Maybe you could ask it what the connection is.
It says you lost touch with your intuition and you made bad decisions because of that.
Okay. And how are you receiving that?
My first response was I don't know if that's real, but I'm just letting that be there because when I say that, I mean that. Anyway, that's just noise. What's my response to that? I just want to thank it for showing me.
Great. Yeah.
It's still right in my face.
Yeah. Well, what would you like to do with that?
Hang on, I'm just going to have a chat to it. Mm. So I started just saying, I really, really want to talk to you and I want to hear from you. But in this moment, in this call, I'm, talking to this other part and committed to that. And that's really important to me. When I said that, I want to listen to you, it said, no, but you don't listen to me. So I reassured it that I wanted to, that I really want to. But in this moment, I want to continue talking to this other part.
Right.
And it kind of it released a bit of pressure.
Okay.
And I said that I want to talk to it another time. And it's doubting my commitment to that.
Okay.
So
I am also bookmarking it if that helps it feel any better about that.
I'm actually going to go and make, because in this app you can make parts. Yes. I'm going to make a part for it.
Brilliant.
Okay. What do you want to be called? It wants to be called Truth.
Okay.
Okay. And what color do you want to be? Okay.
Oh, this app has colors. It's got me beat for sure.
Okay. So I'm just going to check in with it that it recognizes that I've done that. And we can talk there after the call. Maybe. If not before. Okay, feels really happy that I've made that conversation available.
So great.
Space for us.
Yep.
And I'm going to go to it next when I can.
Whenever next is, yeah.
Whenever next is.
Okay.
Next in line.
Yep.
Okay.
We're going to get back to the river. See what this part needs from you.
She says, I need help. I need help with these in pain parts.
Right.
She sees that even though she's worked so hard and done so well, they're still there.
Yeah.
She hasn't, despite her best efforts, they haven't gone away.
Right.
They haven't let down their intensity at all.
Mm-hmm.
She's just had to increase hers.
Right.
So she's sitting down. So there's this part on the ground, curled up, and she's no longer standing next to it. She's sitting to the left of it with her hand on it, and she's inviting me to come on the other side of it and put my hand on it and sit with it too. So we're just gonna do that. She's saying, "I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I can't help this part," she said.
Yeah. She's tried a lot.
She really has.
And now she knows that she's not alone anymore.
And just there's a big kind of gratitude explosion happening in my heart. But it feels like the heart part, being grateful.
Mm-hmm. The hurt part is being grateful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And relieved.
Yeah. So does the thinking
wants to come and sit as well.
Mm-hmm.
So there's 3 of us there. What was your question?
I was going to ask if the thinking part has a suggestion or a request of you around where you might go next. Does it want more from you, or does it want to see you working more with the hurt part?
Mm-hmm. She wants to. Yeah, so she's caretaking the hurt part, and she doesn't want to be caretaking.
Right.
She wants to be taken care of too.
Yes. Yeah.
So
what does she need in order to trust you to do that caretaking for both of these parts? Or you could split that into 2 questions.
Go ahead.
For her and for this other part might be very different things.
Yeah, she really doesn't want to be part of the
right.
Of having to be part of the healing process.
Right.
And there's very, very bright liney green. And she wants her own healing process. She wants that too. She wants it too.
Great.
She needs that too.
Yeah. Okay.
And for her, that's more about acknowledgement and relief from duty. And to know that duty is no longer hers.
Okay.
She doesn't want responsibility anymore.
And what would she like that acknowledgement to look like? Is there a time, a place, place inside?
She wants she wants an armchair and by the fire with a book.
Anything else?
She wants a gift from me. She wants something from me that acknowledges her effort, her role. Mm.
I wonder if there's like an ongoing gift, if there's some way that your relationship with her can continue providing what she wants, if that's books or some way that you can kind of keep working with her.
There's another part that's come in, so I'm just letting you know. I'm just talking to it. It's the part, because, so I remember that one of the C's of self is creativity, and that anything could be, anything could be imagined, anything could, you asked about, like, what your question was, a gift that acknowledges on an ongoing basis.
Mm-hmm.
And then a part came up blocking, like, oh, you can't think of anything because you don't have you don't have the creative ability.
Right.
Yeah. So then I noticed it, and then remembered that I do. It's just maybe it hasn't had a lot of muscle. So I asked what it wanted, and it seems really, I don't know. It said, I just want to play. So it's a little part. It doesn't feel too damaged. It just, so I'm just letting you know what's been going on.
Beautiful.
Okay. It's it or something says I don't have creative ability.
Right.
Or something's told it. Someone somewhere along the line's told it that it couldn't create. And so that's what.
You might not have an answer about a gift right now, because if you want to give a good gift, it requires knowing someone well.
That's very true.
It might not be a failure of creativity so much as just of understanding a part and taking the time to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There was a little bit of getting lost in the imagination of it all, like it comes back to that question that you spoke of about the last episode that was published, like who's where does anything come from? Where does thought come from? Where does image come from? And I'm talking to a part. Am I? Who's talking? What's happening? Is something coming into my mind because it's coming from a part, or because I'm imagining it? And if it's the latter, then what's that? Anyway, so there was a little bit of that happening as well. I think it just keeps coming down to how much am I in self? Like, if I recognize that I'm in self, then I can trust
that's all
that.
okay. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Then I can trust anything that comes up.
Yep.
So a little bit lost.
Okay.
Or not lost, but just distracted.
All right. So it sounded like you were looking for ways to provide some comfort and relief for this part that was working so hard.
Yeah.
And I guess maybe a follow-up with that would be, just making sure that it trusts you, or checking how much it trusts you to work with that exile when you choose to do that.
Mm-hmm. She knows that she can't make it go away anymore. She's tried. Right. And she knows that the best chance of, of course, not making it go away, but helping and healing is through me. She's got an eye on it, though.
Great. Wouldn't expect anything less.
And she needs us to have a really consistent, strong dialogue, and for the building of the relationship, very, very new, very early relationship to continue.
Yeah.
Because it literally has just happened. It's just started.
Yeah.
And it's one of the most important ones.
Yeah. Sounds like you have your work cut out for you.
No pressure.
Right. You may want to kind of circle back to that hurt exile, assuming we're not going to go through a full
I think that's,
getting to know it, an unburdening process with it. You can still give it a gift, or let it know that it's on your list too.
To the exile?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like I need to find her a better place than cold in the dark by the river in a cold up.
Yeah, just ask her if she's ready to go somewhere else, because she might have some attachments around that.
Okay. Yep. Thank you. She does feel kind of stuck there. I don't know if that's how much your suggestion said, made that come to mind. I don't. Who knows? But what were you going to say?
I was going to say it's more common than not.
Okay. And so the thinking part is there, but she's not taking her hand off, because she's just wants to be there, but doesn't want to be caretaking. So she suggested lighting a fire. The thinking part suggested lighting a fire.
Right. Just kind
because
of
it feels cold
torch.
and dark. What did you say?
Holding the torch.
What do you mean?
Oh, I mean, just staying by her side. Like this thinking part isn't ready to just snap her fingers and be off duty.
No.
She wants to watch the work. She cares about this part still.
She doesn't want to. Yeah. Mm-hmm. She doesn't want to be. She's not on duty. She just doesn't want to just disappear. She doesn't want to just poof and go away because she cares. She does. She cares. She just doesn't want to caretake and.
Right.
And maybe she's kind of. She feels like she knows that part.
Right.
So yeah, blankets and a fire.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And that commitment that you now have with her is kind of automatically involves the exile as long as this is all one.
That's right.
Cluster in the system.
Yes, because although she feels distinct from me,
mm-hmm.
she still is connected in some way to this exile.
Yeah. Okay.
Her remaining presence doesn't feel like she doesn't trust me, but she just feels like she can offer suggestions. Like she's the thinking part, right? So she's good at coming up with ideas.
Mm-hmm. And she's worked with this exile for a long time.
Mm. Yeah, it feels really good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't have any kind of feeling of blurriness, like blurred lines, like this.
Mm-hmm.
Like anyone's been overstepped, bypassed, or.
Yeah, no, it sounds like, there's just as many parts in this conversation as any. And the difference is every one of them you turned towards, acknowledged, took some time with.
Mm-hmm.
And you did that from self.
Yeah.
Willing to put me on hold and say, hold on, you know how to do that. Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. Just feel like a good place to leave these parts and revisit when you can.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess. So, no, there was a bit of a no to that. When you say leave these parts, like, what am I doing?
Yeah, that's a tricky one.
Yeah, because she's got the blankets and we've built a fire. And, but where do I go and where do they go? And do they just stay there? And there's a feeling of not wanting to leave this exile alone. How do we pause?
Yeah. I've always had trouble expressing what I think that might mean. Because in one way they're always there, and in another way you're going to stop doing parts work sometime today.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the answer, is just to let them know that
come back.
You're not going away in the sense of they're all alone, because they're not.
Okay, I just want to check to see what each of them needs before we stop. The thinking part's already showed me. So she set up her armchair with the library of books by the fire, by this river in the middle of nowhere in China. So she's there. And this exile part, let me check with her because I haven't really obviously connected with her at all. In this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I just asked for a pillow, teddy bear, more of a bed on the ground. She wants a nest.
Mm-hmm.
So she's really comfortable now. She's really physically comfortable.
Nice.
Still curled up, still got the story, but she's physically comfortable and comforted by that, by me, knowing she's not alone. There's a lot of golden colour around her. So I'm just going to let her know I'm coming back.
Yep. She's on my list too.
So I've said told her that anything that she needs, any kind of comfort, anything to drink or eat, anything she can just have, like it can just appear for her.
That's right.
If she wants it, she can just think it and it will be there. Until I come back.
Mm-hmm. And you'll come back to get to know her, more of her story, and be able to work in a more focused way on the things that she needs. In a deeper way.
She wants an animal. She wants a living thing. Cuddle. Cat.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and that's fine now. She's got something breathing, purring,
awesome.
And she feels really, really comfortable. And she knows that I'll come back.
All right. Anything else you want to discuss with me? Yeah.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Bravo.
It's lovely work, isn't it?
Yes. And thank you so much for sharing it with me.
Thank you. Thank you for your help, guidance.
Yeah.
See you next time.
Okay. I'll be in touch.
Thanks, James.
Okay. Have a good rest of your day.
You too.
All right. Any parts you'd like to get to know better, change your relationship with?
I'm aware of the place we left off last time.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm also aware of other present moment experiences.
Okay.
So I've just had a horrendous night asleep and was awake for what felt like hours, with this kind of incessant, banal, non-stop thinking that doesn't really have any purpose or go anywhere, and definitely feels like a part, and my ability to do anything with it in those hours just is minimal. So that's there.
Yeah.
I guess that's the sort of most up, which actually is quite relevant, I guess, in a way to the to where we left off, which was with this thinking part, and with the protecting this exile by the river. I think it was the thinking part.
Right. The thinking part appeared to be around 21 years old or something like that.
That's right. And, has undeniably dominated my experience of being human for most of the time since then. So it feels like she wants to really, she was really definitely wanting to, is back in that dominant role of not being separated from self.
Okay. Yeah, was that her work last night?
That's what I'm saying. I think it feels like, okay, so I'll check. Yeah, so my access to self feels very tenuous.
Mm-hmm. Just check for any other parts that want your attention, or
I have a slight headache as a result of the sleepless night.
Mm-hmm.
So that's there. My body feels a bit jittery.
Mm-hmm. What else
I have
are you
a couple
noticing?
of other parts that are kind of going, pick me. Just I've been doing a little bit of sort of this, exploring this solo IFS work with just writing, excuse me, rather through, I think Lucille Aaron Wayne is her name. And it's different because it's not very anyway.
Is it IFS, or is it some other parts work, or is it something entirely different?
It's IFS based, but it isn't necessarily self talking to parts. It's just parts talking.
Got it.
And it's just been interesting. But so a couple of parts have come up there. They're kind of going, what about me? I want to be seen. They've been up in other areas of my life. I don't know how to proceed from here.
Okay. Well, there's no wrong answer.
There's no right or wrong way. That's right. So I feel a sort of pull to return to the place we left off, just because that felt incomplete.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if that's a necessity or not. Check. I'm finding it hard to get past this absolute consistent spiral of thinking that's happening.
Okay.
It's really dominant and determined to gain attention.
Okay.
So
Sound
I think
like
that's
a good place
probably
to start. Yeah.
the place to start.
Great. Okay. It's welcome. Maybe let all those other parts know that you'd love to get to them, but it will be hard with this one.
That's right.
Needing your attention. And so what else do you notice about the thinking part?
It's very self-like. It's located in my temples predominantly, and then just sort of round to the top of my head. It's in the jaw, those kind of jointy parts of the jaw. The tight parts of the head and face.
Mm-hmm. Just let it know you. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it wants the attention, but it doesn't want to be unblended.
Okay.
It wants to be in this dominant role.
Okay. Well, it can have the attention. I'm curious why it doesn't want to unblend, why it doesn't want to let you see it and get to know it better.
Oh, because there's tenderness in the heart underneath, and there's a well of sadness there, so
Yeah.
it doesn't want that to be felt.
Yeah. That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Is there something we can change about what we're doing to make this part feel safer? I mean, is it the podcast aspect? Is it me? Is it something else that I could do?
I think it might be a reaction to this solo IFS work I was doing, actually.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because I made what came up was this part that was very small and wanted to just, felt very alone and in the dark and scared. And, I brought it to my knee and it just sat and was comforted by that, and then wanted to get into a big comfy bed and have lots of teddies and, be in a light, warm room.
Yeah.
And read books, and it was just a half an hour exploration. It wasn't really deep. It was just kind of curious exploration of how can I do this? What can I do by myself? And that came up, and it. Yeah, go on.
I was just going to ask it if you had met or worked with that part before.
Aware of that part, yes.
Okay.
Have I worked with? I mean, I'm thinking back to a much earlier call with you, and
the reason I asked is because it's just when I heard that it wasn't deep. I was wondering if maybe there's a part that has some judgment around, you're not doing it right, you're not going deep enough kind of feeling.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely something I've been exploring more kind of, because my kind of default is to go in really deep and to really do deep dive exploration, and that's the way, and that's the only way.
Right.
And so there's been a kind of curiosity about lightning and just, what's here? What can I, what's here right in this moment? It doesn't have to, the other part of it has to be deep is we have to get it all done. We have to get right in and really uncover and really dig it all up and get it all done in one. And actually, if it was interesting to have this curiosity about a lightning around that, and let's just see what's here right now and have a little chat, and then that's it. So
do it again tomorrow.
That's it. But yeah, exactly, that it's ongoing and that it's it doesn't all have to be done in such an intense way.
Right.
So I was responding to the question that you had with that information. Why were you asking that? Where were we going?
I'm not even sure what question you're referring to.
Yeah.
But
you asked about, I don't know either.
Maybe I can summarize where I think we are.
Yes.
There's a thinking part, and it says it doesn't want to unblend because it doesn't want you letting out this tenderness in the heart. And then you were describing the exile part that you met on your own. I'm guessing is that the tender part that the thinking part doesn't want you to go to?
I'm going to assume that's the case.
We can let the thinking part know from me that I don't have a preference. I don't consider that exile or any of them to be more valuable to get to know than this one here. For what that's worth to it.
When you say this one here, you mean it? The thinking part? Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm slightly confused about, this mini exploration of this wanting to go deep part. Like, is that another part? How is that connected to the thinking part? Is it relevant in this moment?
Yeah. Well, is it up for you right now? Is that part saying, wait, we need to go deep?
No, I think I was just mentioning it more in reference to the playfulness of just exploring less intensely in this last week or two, which led to me doing this solo IFS writing practice yesterday, which led to this exile. So is the thinking, is this intensifying of the thinking and the reblending the thinking in response to that, in reaction to that practice I did. I don't know.
Could try asking it.
Just feels so close to me that I find the asking questions and getting answers tricky.
Okay. Well, I'm happy to.
I'm
happy to talk with this part. If it really doesn't want to unblend.
gripping pretty tightly.
Mm-hmm.
It knows that talking to you or me is has the same outcome.
Yeah, and that outcome is
not being in control, not dominating the system.
Yeah. Okay. Which would result in the tenderness in the heart, vulnerability.
It's too risky.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's been a bit of that up as well about risk this past week. They're all linked. They're all interlinked.
Yeah. Does it have any recollection or thoughts about the work we did last time? You were putting your hands, you and a thinking part were putting your hands on a hurt part.
I can bring to mind the picture of that I had in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Which suggests to me that it wasn't self, because I can see the image of it.
Well, maybe you're just recalling it.
So I've just seen a delivery driver pull up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to have to go and deal with that.
That's
Can you
fine.
just...
No problem.
Shall I just go? Yeah, okay. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, James. Sorry about that.
No problem. Okay.
Where were we?
We were with a thinking part that was saying it's too risky to do any unblending, that it needs to dominate and control the system. And I had asked about the work you did last time we spoke and kind of how it felt about that.
That's right. I just had a little visit from the keeper of the keys, the original cynical part, just coming in and saying, I think to the thinking part actually, saying, it's okay, you can do this.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. There were parts saying that last time when you connected with the thinking part. There were parts cheering you on.
But it's almost speaking to the thinking part. It's almost sort of reassuring it that it's okay to do this. Yeah. Okay. So this thinking part, it feels it's in a panic. It's sort of in this sort of panic, I guess, firefighter mode almost. I'm not saying it's a firefighter, but it just has that sort of manic energy of scrambling, desperately trying to stop anything from going in, because that's what it has known. That's the role that it was in, and it has always been in. And
okay.
So it's got this sort of
Again, I want it to know that I don't have a preference for going in, that I'm happy to learn more about it. And I believe if it is the same part that we last talked to, that's what it asked for, was acknowledgement.
Yeah, but this sort of wild scrambling energy of it feels really uncomfortable to it. It feels like doesn't feel sustainable or manageable.
Okay. I'm also open to, we don't have to be talking. You didn't get a lot of sleep. You got a headache. This part's got a tight grip.
No, it feels okay. Just seeing that really feels opens compassion to it.
Yeah.
And I can see that it's younger and that it is overwhelmed by its job.
Job taking care of the hurt parts.
Overwhelmed and, not adequately equipped, not really enjoying it.
Yeah. That's nice that you're able to see that about it. You can just let it know that.
Yeah.
How are you feeling towards it?
Lots of love.
Mm-hmm.
And compassion for it being in that horrible position. It feels slightly out of control. So it's trying to control, just up the ante of the controlling.
And is it feeling that love from you?
It feels a bit abandoned.
Right. Abandoned, alone in what it's doing. And can you just show it that you're here and that you have that compassion for it?
It's really busy. It's literally juggling sort of 6 different things at the same time. It's got multiple things in its hands and it's watching things in the air as they come down. And hasn't noticed me.
Hasn't noticed you. That was going to be my next question.
Or is too occupied to.
Right. Is there anything you can offer it?
I'm suggesting that I take one thing
Mm-hmm.
and put it down on the table and in the kitchen where I grew up, and then maybe another thing and put it down on the table. So then there are less things, one by one.
And you could also offer to keep an eye on those things. We'll make sure we don't lose them, right?
I mean, they're literal things. It's a frying pan and a bowl and... And when I start to have sort of images of things, there's a part that wants to sort of take a ride on that imagination and take it into another story. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to back off from there.
Okay. Yeah, and sometimes that can be really useful to try to figure out why a frying pan, right? So just trust your intuition on where to go with that.
It still feels, the connection between me and this part still feels kind of sketchy. It doesn't feel very...
Were you able to take some things from it?
Well, the frying pan's on the table.
Yeah. Did it notice that? Did it appreciate having one less thing to juggle?
I'm just saying it's the sketchiness makes it hard to have a clear enough separation for dialogue or even observation.
Mm-hmm. I would just say keep noticing what you're noticing and trust in your intuition.
Oh, that simple thing to do, right? Just trust my intuition.
Well, a moment ago you had the intuition to maybe take one of the objects. It was juggling. That's not something I would have thought of.
Yeah. Now there's a corn on the cob.
And this part, does it feel like it's kind of stuck back in that kitchen? The scene and the time important to it?
It's sort of half in it. It's half in the kitchen and half out in just white space. I don't even know if it's in the kitchen. That kitchen came to mind and the table. But I'm trying to look for things now, so I'm just going to try and soften back. Let's just say I can't stop. Busyness is
protective.
And I feel really looped into it still.
Okay. trying to think of that magical question that's going to help, but I'm not sure. And I want to just stay open to nothing has to happen.
That's right. Yeah, no magic tricks required.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it just needs me to witness its busyness. Whoever me is in this moment.
Yeah, well, does the witnessing its busyness feel different from, whatever you were feeling last night?
Being in the busyness.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Marginally, yeah. So I can feel a desire to try, in inverted commas,
Mm-hmm.
and access self, to recognize those sensations in the body. And I'm thinking that might be a part as well, because it feels like it's putting a distraction or a distance between me and what's happening in this process that we're doing.
Yeah. Yeah,
Does that make sense?
I was getting the same sense.
Aha.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
Being curious, being patient.
Yeah, that's it. Just this dance.
Being open, that's self, or it's a really good imitator. But yeah, I mean, if that's where you are with this part, and it sounds like you are, then there's nothing more to access.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Yeah, so there's this. The alternative to this busyness, this juggling,
mm-hmm.
is to sit down and roll a joint and smoke that.
Mm-hmm.
And then it all goes away.
Right. Yeah. Well, that was the firefighter activity that it was telling us about.
Yeah.
That
and
helped
it happened
it out.
around that table a lot. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was absolutely the firefighter activity that helped it out for sure.
Yeah. And we can welcome that and appreciate that. This part was interested in not being so busy, and it found a way.
Mm-hmm. But it was still doing the other stuff at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
That other stuff was still cycling, that was still happening underneath.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It never stopped.
I get
juggling.
it. Maybe that's something you could offer it. I mean, might sound crazy, but maybe because you can kind of provide anything for it, maybe you can kind of let it indulge in that kind of break that it used to be able to take, and that high feeling. And let it know that it's okay for it to be that way around you.
what it wants to do is to drop everything that it's juggling. Just let it all fall to the ground. But that feels scary. It feels scary in the same way that smoking a joint feels scary.
Mm-hmm. You could aid it in that. You could say, all right, let me put down the mattress. Try dropping one thing and I'll pick it back up and hand it to you. You know, something like that. Just...
It's just saying, see me. It's just saying, see,
mm-hmm.
I want you to see
mm-hmm.
what I
How
have
hard
to
it
do.
is. Yeah.
I just want to be seen in this. I don't want the firefighter to make it go away. I don't want
Right.
anyone or anything to make it go away.
Right.
I want
It wants you to know. Yes, acknowledgement. It wants you to know.
Yeah, it doesn't want interference, doesn't want.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just letting it know that I'm right here. I'm just sitting, taking a seat at the table, and I'm just observing,
Mm-hmm.
giving my full attention to her as she is.
Mm-hmm.
And she's welcoming the company. And the attention.
Yeah. Yeah. Giving her that attention is all we meant by unblending.
But again, I'm seeing myself sitting at the table, so that's there as well. That's okay.
Okay.
I'm looking at the scene, you know.
Yeah. Who's the one sitting at the table?
Yeah.
What's she like? What is she like? Is she compassionate and curious?
Yeah, she's compassionate. She's got time.
Mm-hmm.
And she's grateful.
Is she your age?
Yeah. Yeah. I was going to say that she's older than this other part.
Does the part that's juggling feel like there's an important distinction between the woman at the table and you watching it, acknowledging it?
It doesn't feel like it.
Okay. I'm fine with that.
I'm sort of slipping in and out. I'm sort of playing with it again. It's just this they have a tendency to kind of go into rigidity, as in, I guess, binary thinking around it. Has to be this or that, has to be.
Yeah. Yep. I'm dealing with that. I'm dealing with that in myself right now. So I get it. And I'm trying to err on curious and open. I'm not going to tell you, well, therefore it can't be this and it has to be that.
That's right.
That's why I asked how the part was experiencing it, because that's what we came here to do, was to get to know this part.
All I know is the one in the chair doesn't feel threatening or imposing will, or so I'm just literally kind of moving into her. So it has a connection to, I don't know how to do this work. What I mean by that is, I can't speak to parts. That's not completely clear, I know, but so it's like I have to make self a part to be able to do it or something.
Right.
Does that make any sense?
It does, yeah. There's a self avatar there. And if it's not centered in you, then the part that is certain that you can't speak to parts approves.
Exactly.
Yep. I think that's all fine. I don't think we're breaking the rules yet.
What are the rules anyway? Yeah, there's a lot of kind of energy shifting in my body. Shakiness. Something might be there.
Still feeling that compassion?
Yeah, the dominant is curious, actually. Dominant position is curiosity. Like, what do we do? What's going on here? Where are we? Where are we back in this kitchen with this juggling part, observing part? What are we doing here?
Maybe you could ask the juggling part what else it wants you to do here. If there's more that it wants you to know. Or even if it would share some of its fears with you.
Yeah, it doesn't feel totally self with this dyad of self. Totally safe. Did I say that? With this dyad of self.
Okay.
It's just like I just have to keep going. I just have to keep doing this round and round, round and round. Repetitive, boring, inane task.
That's what the juggling part says?
Yeah. Because there's no other choice.
And you also said that it doesn't feel safe with the dyad or with the two selves there.
Yeah, it's like, who's what's really going,
And is the juggling part concerned about the safety?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I respect that. Got any ideas?
I'm making a commitment to going to the seat. There was something around the risk part that was keeping those two selves there.
Mm-hmm.
There's something about risk, and you can't do this. You don't know how to do this.
Mm-hmm.
You can't risk doing it because then mistakes happen. And this has been the theme from this week. These other parts about risk and mistakes. Can't make mistakes because then it's a terrible thing and everything goes wrong. You can't get it wrong. You mustn't get it wrong, so you can't risk trying.
Okay. So you could address that part, or you could, like you said, I mean, I would probably just try addressing that part.
Yeah.
That's saying that.
I agree. I made a mistake at work. It was a small thing, but it just blew up. It just became so enormous. And at one point I was saying, as one might to a child, it's okay to make mistakes, it's okay. Mm-hmm. And it was like, fuck you. Like, no way, you're wrong. No way.
Yeah.
I don't believe that for a second. That's a pile of horseshit.
Yeah.
And it just stayed there. So I'm just wondering where that is, because that gave me a little bit of nighttime.
Mm-hmm.
Round and round as well.
Yeah, try locating that. It's not okay to make mistakes.
It sort of feels like it's in my skin.
Mm-hmm.
Which means it's all over my body.
Uh-huh.
It feels very shaky.
How do you feel towards it?
Kind of blended as well, I'm afraid to say.
It's okay. Okay, so this part is... Go ahead.
These parts are really important. They're really important.
They sound really important.
They're really very familiar, very close, very, very present.
Yeah. They sound really important. And from the degree that we might have gotten to know some of them before, I think we can say for sure that that's always been valuable. Every time that you've gotten to know a part, it's been I'm guessing, correct me if I'm wrong, a net positive.
Yes.
Yeah.
This one feels really important.
Really doesn't want to make mistakes, especially in this particular work.
Anywhere.
Yeah.
Here, anywhere.
Yeah.
And it sort of stems from this stay small, this other part which is small in the dark in the corner. Don't stand up, don't be your full size, don't take a step into anything. It's protective of that part.
Don't step into anything.
Anything. Don't be seen.
Yeah. That's what you were trying to do with that self-like part. You're trying to step into it.
Uh-huh. You're right. It's really occupying my whole body.
Okay.
It's okay. It's doable. It's just very,
Yeah, sounds intense. Sounds powerful. Just let it know that you can recognize its power.
Yeah. The thinking part saying, you see what happens.
What happens, thinking part?
Other really difficult things happen. Uncomfortable feelings, uncomfortable sensations.
Yes.
Overpowering, overwhelming. I'm saying it's okay. I'm not overwhelmed. It's strong, but it's not too much.
Yeah. And I'm kind of confused by this thinking part saying that because, well, it didn't really relax. So, this it's saying, oh, look, this bad thing happened. You're going to get overwhelmed by another part, but it didn't really have any effect on that I noticed.
Yeah, there's confusion too.
I guess the message being, or that I'm seeing, is you can be busy and I can still have difficult times. The busyness is not that effective at stopping that.
Well, the busyness it's occupied with physically manifests as thinking in my system. So me sitting, observing it, juggling, is watching the the physical manifestation of what can be thinking. But the thinking isn't as present, maybe in the watching of the physical juggling. I don't know if any of this makes sense. I'm just speculating.
It's all right. Is there more that the don't make mistakes part wants to let us know?
It's still really in my body, so I'm just letting it be in there and letting the whatever it needs to do in there happen. It's really, so there's a kind of shakiness everywhere, and there's an absolute real tight rigidness in the neck, which is the link, which is the gateway, the bridge between body and mind, thinking and embodiment.
And is the don't make mistakes part more of the embodiment side of things?
I've got no idea right now.
Okay. It's fine.
I don't know. It feels like it's situated mostly in the neck. And in noticing it, this physical release is happening in the rest of my body. But it's still very tight in the neck, very...
How does it feel about you noticing it and maybe also that relief effect?
The shaking stopped. So a lot more space now.
Yeah. So it doesn't think you're making a mistake in observing it?
I've gone a bit spacey. Can't tell if it's good or bad.
Okay. You want to just stay with it?
Yeah. It feels, it's the absence of thinking. It's like everything stopped.
Everything stopped. Is that following what I had just prompted, which was to let that no mistakes part know that know that you see it, and to ask how it feels about that?
I was in this intense experience of shaking.
Uh-huh.
And the rigidity in my neck. And then you asked that question and everything just fell away. And now there's just emptiness.
Okay. Part of me is like, keep asking it.
What was the question?
Mm-hmm. The no mistakes part. How does it feel about you noticing it?
I don't know where it is. Can't locate it.
Okay.
There's still a real tightness in my neck. So maybe it's there.
And there was also kind of the other side of the question, which was, does it feel like you're making a mistake in the way that you're observing it?
Doesn't feel like it.
Mm-hmm. And that's coming from the part that says no mistakes?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't really know where I am.
Okay. How does it feel?
Interesting. Different. Spacious. I don't normally ever know not thinking.
Mm-hmm. Is there a feeling of safety in that spaciousness?
Yeah. Doesn't feel threatening or uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I've opened my eyes to see what that's like.
I'm also really enjoying it, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
I'm enjoying myself not doing a lot of thinking and enjoying the space.
There's still a real like tree trunk in my neck feeling. Doesn't feel very spacious there, but.
And do you recall did that part have an identity yet?
Well, that came up with the mistakes.
Mm-hmm. And it ran off when you asked how it felt being noticed by you.
I don't know if it ran off, but something changed.
Something changed, and you stopped hearing whatever you're doing isn't right. You'll make a mistake.
Stopped hearing anything.
Mm-hmm. This is just hypothetical, but you could check when you think back to, okay, let me step into that self-like part at the kitchen table. Does that now feel like something safe to do?
Feels distant.
Okay. Well, that might have been the point of the spaciness then. You know.
Say more?
It might have been to serve to further distance you from doing that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's I get that. Yeah. It's interesting. You said spacey, which is the word I first used, and then it felt spacious, and there's quite a difference between spacey and spaciousness.
Yeah. That's right.
I did use both words.
Do they feel different to you? I mean, have you felt both of those? Have you felt both of those in this conversation?
Completely different.
Yeah.
Spacey feels more dissociative. Spaciousness feels more embodied.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's interesting. So yeah, it could have been a way out of that what seemed like a dangerous situation.
Right. I wonder if the spaciness, while we're connecting dots, is also, what the thinking part was getting out of the smoking weed.
Yeah. I remember that first hit, when everything just feels horrible, and then you start smoking, and then it's just like,
yeah,
it's gone.
Yeah.
All the juggling has stopped.
Yeah, and now you have this internal spacey part that can do that. And you've been able to see it, and you've been able to see how it relates and also how it's different from spaciousness.
Yeah. It's also interesting.
It is, and we're getting into some really subtle things here, which I appreciate. But you're right about, just earlier saying about not thinking, it's like, you can see how this can be overthought.
Can you say more?
This whole process, but especially as we're getting into the more subtle spacey versus spacious, a self part that looks just like me, and I could step into it or I could not. I'm just appreciating how I'll use the word complex, but not in a negative way. It's a complex game, and the thinking parts can only handle just a fraction of it. you know?
Yeah. There's another sort of element to it, which is that this occupying this risk part, which went into this incredible shakiness in my body, which then just dropped. And then there was no thinking.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that, I don't know, that felt like a
big shift.
Like a healing.
Oh, yeah.
You know, not healed, but just that there was something in the release of allowing my body to experience the energy and then the energy releasing.
Mm-hmm.
That feels valid too.
Yeah. And if that was a result of asking the part how it feels about you noticing it, you know, that's what we're trying to do. And that's what we're trying to do for the thinking juggling part. Is just asking for its attention in various ways and giving it your attention.
I think there's also something to be said in doing the work non-cognitively. So, you know, because I often experience things with color and and energy moving in the body, and so that's you know, that can be something happening. You know, maybe not to the degree of unblending, but that can be something happening.
Definitely.
Which isn't, and what does the part say now? And what does the part want me to do?
Right.
And talk with words.
Right.
So just something else.
Notice. Well, you know, into a part of you that says we need to get this right, and maybe thinks, well, the way you get it right is what it says in this book or what James says on the podcast.
Right.
And yeah, again, it's like, I don't know. I haven't read that book yet.
As many ways as people, maybe.
Yeah. I haven't read the book that's got all the answers for, you know, the steps I'm supposed to take when I go inside.
No, because it becomes very individual.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Anyway, there's a kind of sense of completeness in this.
Beautiful
moment. So
yeah, one last thing I'd like to say is just how much I'm learning from what you're sharing with me. And I just want to say that and just appreciate that.
Okay. Part of me wants to know what you mean, but that's okay though.
Yeah.
That's fine. Yeah. That's enough.
Okay, great. Great. Thank you.
Thanks, James.
Okay. Hope to do it again soon sometime.
See you next time.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Do you want to help bring more self-energy to the world? If you'd like to participate in calls or help out with this project in any way, I'd love to hear your ideas. Join the Discord server or contact me at james@liveifs.com. A huge thanks to our audio engineer, Yvonne, for your care and diligence in editing the calls. To every caller for your courage in sharing some of your parts. And to anyone out there getting to know their internal system, keep going. Who knows, that might be the most selfless, helpful thing you can do for others, and you're the only one who can do it. If you'd like to see us reach the largest audience, we must please the almighty suggestion algorithms at iTunes and YouTube, and they don't care about the power of IFS. They're looking for likes and shares and comments, and the sooner the better. Follow the links in the show notes right here in your podcast player to make your wishes known. And now, a minute of meditation. Or if you prefer, pull over. You can do it in 60 seconds. Just click one of those links. They're right there, and give us a like or a 5-star rating. It would really help. If you think this project is helping people, you're helping people by sharing it. Thank you.